Hello everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome to another Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper, located in Oregon in the United States, and I am so happy to have you join me tonight. We are going to be seeing some sneak peeks of new upcoming product that will be available beginning May 1st. In the 2024-2025 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. And we are also going to be using some current product that coordinates quite nicely with it. So we will see who's on here. Give everybody a minute or so to get in here, and then we'll get started. We'll see if I can find my video so I can see the comments. Okay. Let's see if I can go here and maybe get to it this way. Yep, there we go. And hello, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, let's see if we can straighten this up a bit. Nope, wrong direction. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. All right. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Laura. Hope everybody had a fantastic day. And Tracy, I hope little Autumn is not too horribly sick. That poor little thing. She just cannot seem to get well and stay that way. Hopefully that means that she's getting all of her immunities built up, and soon she won't have all that stuff because she'll have some very strong immunities. That'll be fabulous. All right. Tonight we're going to be using, there we go, the new and upcoming In the Grove stamp set and the coordinating dies. This is a bundle that will be in the 2024-2025 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. And it just so happens that this coordinates perfectly with the Grassy Grove and Grove dies. So these two work very well in conjunction with each other, and I'm going to show you that tonight. So we're going to have some fun with that. And we're also going to be using a sentiment from the Unbounded Love. This is a $1 Million Sales Achiever stamp set that is done by Debbie Mozek, and it has some really nice sentiments, all occasion, both the outside greeting and the inside greeting. This is really nice. This will also be available in the upcoming catalog, so you're going to get to see that tonight in action. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to set those aside, and hopefully I won't set them where I can't find them, because we all know that that does happen. All right, so we are going to, we also have one other thing that's a sneak peek from the annual upcoming catalog, and that is the Thoughtful Journey Designer Series paper. This features a lot of the new in colors. So 6x6 paper stack, 48 sheets. You get 4 each of 12 double-sided designs. So that's a really nice paper pack, and we're going to be using that tonight for our first project. So that's where this piece of paper comes in. This is the piece that we're going to be using from that designer series paper. I've got a card base of Misty Moonlight. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it in the middle at 4.25. And I've got some basic gray cardstock, and I've already cut that. First, I cut one piece that is 3 3/4 by 5, and I cut this with the largest die from In the Grove. Okay. And then from the Grove dies, I took a piece of basic gray 4 by 5 1/4, and I cut the largest die from that as well. Okay, so we're going to set those out of the way just to save us some time. I pre-did that. Oh, there went my stamp set on the floor. Did you hear that fall? Okay. So then we've got a piece, I think this is my scrap paper. Let me make sure. Yes, I cut this at 3.5 inches just so it'll run through my mini cut and emboss machine. And then I took a piece of basic gray, and from the In the Grove dies, I took this mountain piece, and I just took a scrap piece of the basic gray, and I ran that through my die cut machine. This is what the die looks like. And then this is what you get. And so I'm just going to take this. My paper was a little bit wider than my die, so I'm just going to take this and snip that. And then I've got this piece that I can use on the inside of my card. And this I have, this is just a scrap. I mean, you could use this and use it as a stencil if you choose. That would be an option. So let's go ahead and put this away so I don't lose it, because that would not be fun. I'm not going to get those dies too far, because once we stamp, we are going to do a little bit of die cutting. So let's get some smoky slate ink, and we're going to take our mountain, and I'm doing this in the Stamparatus just because it's a big die and it makes it easier for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this work. So I'm going to go ahead, let's see, get this out of the way. And I'm going to grab a sticky mat so that my paper doesn't move. I'm going to throw that in my Stamparatus. I'm going to put this down here on this line, like so. And I'm going to pick up my stamp. I'm going to move that down here, just enough so I can die cut that. Pick that up with my door. And then I'm going to ink up my stamp. But before I do that, this one is kind of juicy, and this stamp kind of reminds me of a distinctive stamp, although it's not quite distinctive. But I find that if my ink pad is too wet, it doesn't ink well. Okay, so we're just going to do that. And I'm going to stamp this down. And I've got that, and look, I got a halo. I'm going to fix that. It doesn't matter because that's not going to show up on my, when I die cut. I don't have to worry about it, but I need to do this for my envelope. So I'm going to show you what to do if you get that. or what I do. I meant to do this ahead of time. However, it's a good learning lesson for all of us. I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to just trim off that excess rubber that's catching. And notice how I'm leaving the foam. I don't want to cut into the foam. Some people are way better at this than I am. And I'm just going to trim that off, and then I won't have to deal with that anymore. Don't be afraid to trim those down. Just be careful not to cut into your the image, and you want to make sure you don't undercut your foam. You always want your foam to be at least even, if not sticking out a bit when you do this. So now, next time I go to use that stamp in a minute, I'm not going to have to worry about that because that's going to be done. But before I stamp that again, I am going to go ahead and grab my Mossy Meadow ink. This image, this grassy image from that same In the Grove stamp set, and I'm going to ink that one up, and then I'm going to give that a good stamp up here. Okay, there we go. So our two main images that we need are stamped. Now, let's go ahead and pull this off. Our sticky sheet. And then I'm going to grab my envelope. And I'm going to put this back down on my mat here. I'm going to go a little further out on this because my envelope's a little bit bigger. Make sure I get that. Okay, why are you being stubborn, envelope? Thank you. Okay, now let's get that stamp again. And this time I'm going to put this down so it's right at the bottom of my envelope. And then close that door. And take my Smoky Slate ink again. And this time it does matter if I get a halo, because I don't want that on my envelope. So let's just stamp that down. And there we are. Okay, now I can peel that off. Cover back on my sticky mat there. Hello, Lynette. I see you made it back from the Seattle area, having a blast at the Cubs games. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that off. I don't think I need that again. And we can put this aside. And out of the way. Okay. So now we have our envelope. We can grab our mini cut and emboss machine here. We'll grab our plates. These are also from the In the Grove, so I'm going to use the mountain die here. I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to have to trim that paper just a pinch. Give me 1 second. Because of where I stamped that, my die is going to hang off the paper just a smidge, which was going to cause me issues with my paper width. So you can do a 3.5 inch paper width in the mini. So we've got that, and then we're going to use this die, and we'll place that up here. Put that all in there like so. And I'm going to take that down so it doesn't move. And then we'll feed this through. Cut both of those pieces out. And that's all the die cutting we have for this card that I hadn't pre-done. So there's our mountains and our meadow. And that's just scrap paper. So let's put our dies back so they don't get lost, because that would be tragic. All right, and let's start assembly. Okay. So we need to cut this paper down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at here. I don't think I really want that. So I'm going to go up. I want really the sky on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. And this piece is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut this one I need this to be just under 4. So I'm going to go 3 15/16. Okay. And then I'm going to go 1 tick mark under 5 1/4, which is 5 3/16. And I want to go, which way do I want to go? You know what? I am going to go from this direction. I have choices. So we're going to do that. Put this in here and slice that off. Now I've got this piece I can use on my envelope flap, and I have this scrap piece which we're going to use here in a minute for our sentiment. Okay, so we are going to bring back in those die cut pieces. And I'm going to start with the grass meadow here. And I'm going to put this just down here, and I'm going to do that with a little bit of liquid glue. So I'm just going to run a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom, my Tombow multi-purpose. And this is a little goes a long way. And I'm just going to lay that down here like so. Okay. Got that. And now I'm going to take my mountains and I'm going to do the same thing right at the bottom. Just a little bit of glue. I don't need a lot. And then I'm going to run this behind that. Okay, give that a press. All right. So now we can go ahead and lay this on our, there's my sample card. It'd be nice if I could see my sample card to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be. Of course, you know, there are no rules in paper crafting, so I can do what I want to do here. So the easiest way I found to do this is to just take this piece and flip it over. And I'm going to put my glue on the back of my gray piece. And I'm not going all the way out to the edge because I didn't cut it quite as big. But I can go most of the way out to the edge with my glue. And I'm going to put glue on these pieces. And then I'm going to go in and just put a little bit of glue here and there. Okay. And that should be plenty to hold it. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to turn it upside down, which I could use this piece too. This would be beautiful. Both sides would work perfectly for this particular project. And then I'm just going to lay this down here and give that a press. And I'm going to take my bone folder and make sure it's all layered and secured. And there is my base. Now I'm going to add this piece on top. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, I'm going to use liquid glue. This time I'm going to start with a little bit of glue on these trees. Just a little bit to secure those down here and there. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to center this one up so that I have equal borders on all four sides and that I'm straight. And there we go. And I'll just give that a press. All right. Now we're going to bring back the Stamparatus. And I'm going to throw this in here. And we're going to take a sentiment from Unbounded Love. And we're going to take the sentiment that says, makes the world a better place. And we're going to lay this right down here, straight, hopefully straight. That looks pretty straight. Then I'm going to close the door. And before I ruin my card, I'm going to bring in a piece of scratch paper. I'm going to move that card out of the way. And I'm going to take my basic gray ink. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp that down. And yes, that looks very straight. So I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to ink this up again. Now, if you don't have a Stamparatus, because they've been discontinued, any stamp positioning tool will work. Okay, and that's nice and dark the first time, and I'm happy with that. So we're going to go with that and leave it as is. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to need this again. I'm going to close this up and we'll see if we need this in a minute. Okay. So now I'm going to take that piece of designer series paper that I have. And I already have that stamp out. I probably put all these out. I must have put them all away. Oh yeah, because I did this the other day. So let's see. Love is right here. You could choose any of these. Hope, love, faith. Anything would make the world a better place. Peace. Any of those 4 main sentiments there you could use. So let's grab a block. Apologize that I did not have these already on the block. I usually like to do that so you don't have to watch that process. And let's take the love stamp and let's stamp this down. I hope this is wide enough for what I want. Okay. And then we're going to bring the mini machine back in. And we need the Wonderful Thoughts dies. This is a retiring bundle. So you can get the Wonderful Thoughts stamp set and the coordinating dies. These cut out all of these sentiments perfectly. And it's carrying over into the new catalog, but the bundle price is not, of course. And it has some extra pieces, and this is the extra piece that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put this on here. And I want to do it this way. And I'm going to get a piece of tape so that doesn't move. I'm going to bring back in that mini. And our plates. Sandwich that. And cut this out. And that little die is about a perfect fit for that sentiment. That makes it so we don't have to fussy cut a sentiment. Gives us a little bit more interest and carries a little more weight with our sentiment. Then we are just going to, I'm just going to put this down flat. And then our card is almost completely finished. Just going to put this up here in this corner, like so. And then we're going to add this to our card front. Just going to burnish on our score. And then we're going to add this using Stampin' Seal. A little bit crooked there. Let's see if we can straighten that up a bit. I didn't even have it quite pressed down. So that's good. Let's line up those 3 sides, make everything look straight. And then when we place that down, we should be good. Okay, so there is the front of our card. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to add it to the inside of our card. And we're going to, just going to put that down there. I'm actually going to trim this down a bit. I must have had a smaller piece when I did the original. Anyway, I don't like the way that hangs over, so let's see. We're going to cut this maybe 1/2 inch. So let's we're at 3 or 5 and 7 or 4 and 7/8. So we're going to take this, actually I'm going to take this down to 3 3/4 or 4 1/2. And then I'll take this down to 3 1/2. Okay, that should give us a pretty good border inside, unless I should have taken it at 3 1/4. Nope, that border looks pretty even. Okay, so again, I'm just going to take some liquid glue. And I'm going to lay this down here. And that's going to fit just about perfectly. There we go. And I'm going to leave the inside blank so that when I know who the recipient's going to be, that I can add my sentiment or just write a note. Okay, and there we are. First project finished. I hope you like that. Oh, let's go ahead. I want to show you. This isn't quite big enough for the flap, but I just take and eyeball this like so. You could cut the flap off, but what I do is I take my paper piercer and I just mark it like so with my paper piercer, and then I'm going to come in with my liquid glue and I'm going to put glue down here, and then I'm going to add this piece. Making sure that I get clear to the end of the envelope flap. Okay, and then I'm going to trim that off with my scissors. All right. Okay, and there you have it. Our first project finished. Okay. Thank you, ladies. I'm so glad you love that. Now let's go ahead and move on to project number 2, which is very similar. But I did add a few more things. Unfortunately, I did not pre-color, so we're going to have to color. And do a little bit of stamping. So what I've pre-done for this one is I cut that same birch or aspen die that we did before, and I cut that in basic white. Then I cut the larger piece again, same measurements, 3 3/4 by 5, 4 by 5 1/4, and I cut those trees again. But this time, what I did was I took the set of the trio of trees from the Grassy Grove stamp set, and I inked that up in shaded spruce, but I tried not to do the stems. Mask those off, and then I just repeatedly stamped that to get some texture. So basically I went like this and just kept re-inking and got that done. And then I took my light or my dark pecan pie, or my deep, I used the deep SU100 and the brush tip, and I colored in those tree limbs to give me this look. Okay, and I did that just to save us some time. This time I have a piece of the garden meadow paper. Okay, let's set those over there. And we need to cut this down, but in order to cut this down, we need to see what we want here. So I think this time we're going to cut the bottom corner. And I'm going to do this the same way that I did before. In that I'm going to cut this at, I'm going to turn it this way because this is the piece that I want. So I'm going to cut this at 3 15/16. And I've got that piece again. And then I want this end, so I'm going to put this at 3 15/16. Did I do that right? I don't. No, this one's got to go here. I almost messed that up. 5 3/16 is what I want. Whew. Okay, so 3 15/16 by 5 3/16. And then that's going to give me this piece. And I can go ahead and start assembling this. And then we can add, well, I can add this to this. That's all we can do at the moment. So let's do that. Get these out of the way. Turn this over. And we're going to glue this. And put a little bit of glue on these trees. In here. Dot, dot, not a lot. I don't want it oozing out everywhere. That doesn't look pretty. Okay. And then we'll turn that over, turn our paper over. Lay this down. Okay, we've got that now. And we'll set this aside. Now we're going to bring this piece in. And I'm going to bring in some crumb cake ink. If I can find it, actually. Here's my ink pads. I'm going to bring in some crumb cake ink. And take a scratch piece of paper. I'm just going to lay this down here for a minute. And I'm going to take a blending brush. And I'm going to lightly brush the trees. Okay. I don't want a lot of ink. And I could have used masking tape to make this a little bit easier, but I don't really care if I get a little bit of color at the top or the sides, because I'm not looking for a lot. I just want a little bit of color on those trees, just like that. Okay, I'm going to take my lemon lime twist. And I'm going to take a blending brush with this. Okay. And then I'm just going to ink around the edges with this, just to make it look like kind of a meadow. And I don't want a lot of ink. I just don't want it to be stark white. So I don't need a lot. Okay, and there we are. Now this is our piece for the outer portion. And we're just going to give this a quick wipe and get that ink off of the mat. We have had word that this is going to go on sale first for pre-orders for demonstrators, and then possibly to customers following that. They have not given us any time frames though, so we have this. Now we're going to go ahead and add this to our piece here. And again, I'm just giving it just a little bit, not a lot. And I really don't want to put a lot on those trees because I kind of want some movement with those trees. Okay, so I've got that. Oh, good thing that dropped upside down where the ink did, or the glue didn't get all over my project. And then I'm just going to center that up. And you could stop here, and that would be a beautiful card if you just added a sentiment and called it good. But we're not going to do that. We're going to take that scrap piece of white that we had, and we're going to bring in the Coffee with Friends stamp set. And we're going to take this young lady, and we're going to ink her up in Pebbled Path. And stamp her down. Okay. I'm going to give her just a second to dry. And while she's drying, I cut from Basic White the In the Grove dies have these teeny tiny little squirrel and bunny rabbits that have no stamps that coordinate. They're just die cuts. And so I thought I would take these. I'm going to take the light pecan pie. And I'm going to color this little squirrel in. And make him brown. And I missed the tip of his tail. And then for the little bunny rabbit, I'm going to take the light SU 900. And I'm just going to put a little pink in the ears here and a little teeny tiny bit on the nose. Then I'm going to take my black Stampin' Up marker. Just going to give him a little dot for his eye. And a couple little dots there for the bunny. And now, instead of plain die cuts, we have just a little bit of features that really make those come alive. So let's go ahead and put those on our card before we lose them, because they are pretty teeny tiny. So I'm going to take this little squirrel. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue. Come on, glue. Okay. And I'm going to set him up here in the tree about I'm going to put him about right here. Okay. And I'm going to take my little bunny. Add a little bit of liquid glue here. I'm going to slide my little bunny right in here so that he's hiding behind that tree there a bit. Okay. Now that's good to go. Now let's go ahead and start coloring our little, our girl here, not our lady. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to start with her hair, and I'm going to take light gray granite, because she's, you know, after all, she has a little bit of gray. And we're going to put some gray in her hair here and there. I'm going to take the light pecan pie. And I'm I'm just going to color in some more of that hair, blending that gray together. A little too much gray there in that streak, so let's fix that. All right, and then we're going to take Highland Heather. We're going to start with the light. I'm going to color her shirt in. And okay, I'm gonna, oh, that was the dark. I messed that up totally. Okay, well, we're good. If you do that, there's a way to still do your shadows. We're gonna wait just a minute now because I didn't start with the light like I should have. Let's move on to the dark fresh freesia. And actually, I need the brush tip. This is so tiny. I'm just going to color in this cup. And you really can't see a lot of it. Okay, and we're going to take the pecan pie again. And we're going to put her cocoa in there. And I'm going to take the light gray granite. And I'm just going to put just a little bit of light gray granite along the steam there. The light SU 900 is for her skin. And hang on, I did not. That's the wrong Highland Heather. Oh, how did I end up with? Well, that is different. Okay, so did I color that with the dark fresh freesia? Oh my goodness, because I gotta make it work here. It doesn't look right, does it? I don't know what I did, you guys. This is not matching up. And I don't see the light or the dark Highland Heather. I just have these. Okay, well. That's not right. Okay, well, we're going to fake it. It's going to work. We'll just go back and do this. I don't know why that did that. I mean, I only have those few colors here. And why I pulled them like I did, I don't know. Okay, well, we're going to fix that. Just like that. Okay. All right, now let's take the let's get rid of that one before I mess that up. Okay, the dark balmy blue. I'm going to put in some dark here. And along the shadow, these are the Stampin' Up! Color Me lines here. And I'm going to go back with the light balmy blue. And I'm going to color that in. Now there's no right or wrong way to use the blends. You can start with the light, go to the dark, go back to the light. Or you can start with the dark, go to the light, and then if your dark isn't dark enough, go back and add that in. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to take Night of Navy. And I'm going to put the Night of Navy right here on her flip-flops. Okay. So we've got that. And I forgot her pant leg over here on the other side, so let's do that. Okay. Got that. I need a little bit more dark here. And here. Okay. And I'm happy with that. So then we'll color the skin with the light SU 900. And remember, with blends, they'll look darker while you're coloring than what they actually dry. Get her fingers in here. Okay. And then we'll go back and get that her leg. And these natural tone blends don't have necessarily a light and a dark. What they have are a red tone and a yellow tone. So we'll let that dry for just a minute. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to grab the light and dark crumb cake. Okay. And I am going to color my deck here that she's sitting on. Okay. Oh, hi, Melissa. Thanks, you guys. Thanks so much. I'm glad you like what you see. Okay, so we'll get this in here. This out. And I'm just going to leave this like so. Okay. Then we're going to go back with the dark crumb cake. And I'm going to use Stampin' Up's Color Me lines here. And then I'm going to put in just a few shadows. Okay. All right. And then I'll go back and blend that out just a bit. So I don't have that harsh line right there. Okay? All right. Now our gal is ready. And we can fussy cut her. We can find our scissors. Where did I get the there they are. Paper snips. Here we are. All right. So I'm not going to leave a very large border on her because I want her to blend into the scene. So when you're cutting, when you're fussy cutting, turn your paper, not the scissors, and I'll go back and fix that where I have white at that edge. And you don't win a prize for cutting in one piece, so make it easy on yourself. Cut off the excess. Okay. fussy cut that. It really isn't that hard. Turn the paper, not the scissors. And then we'll finish that up. Got that a little bit wider than I want it. All right. Okay. Now we have that. And I'm going to put just a touch of the balmy blue. No, yeah. Just put just a touch of balmy blue in here. And I'm going to go back with my color lifter. And I'm going to lighten that up just a little bit, just because I don't want that white showing on my thing here. And hang on. I'm not going to be happy if I don't do this. So there we are. Got that. This and this card is just about finished. So I'm going to take my lady who's reflecting on the beauty of the scene with her cocoa in her hand. And I'm going to set her right down in here, like so. Okay. Now let's add this to the card base, which is a piece of shaded spruce, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And we'll fold and burnish. And then we're going to add this. Wow, that is not cut correctly. That's for sure. Let's chop that off. Apparently that piece was a little bit longer than 5.5. No worries. It's the correct measurement now. Okay, let's add this to the front. I did not add a sentiment to this card because I thought it had enough going on that I did not really need to add a sentiment. And this would work for so many different occasions: sympathy, birthday, what have you. And so I thought, well, I'll just leave it and we'll look. And what did I do with my inside piece? I had it stamped. Where did I put it? Okay, well, let's... Oh, I was supposed to cut again, and I forgot. Okay, well, we're going to cut another one of those little, why am I getting that? I need an envelope. An envelope. I'm pretty sure I had one of these done too. Well, I don't see it here. I was pretty sure I had it stamped, but we're going to stamp it anyway. Let's get this mountain. I'm going to put this on a block this time and hope this works out okay for me. We'll grab the smoky slate, ink that up, make sure my envelope's right side up. Okay, and then I'm going to grab an inside piece, which I think I used my inside piece to stamp on. And then we'll do that again. All right. There we are. And again, because I don't know what I'm using this for, I decided not to put an inside sentiment. I'm leaving it totally blank. This could just be a note card. Just send someone a note. And there you have the matching envelope. And let's bring back in that first card that we made. Okay, now I did make one other card today because I was doing a color challenge, and so I thought, well, I might as well show you. The colors that I was challenged to use were Flirty Flamingo, Bubblegum, or Bubble Bath, Flirty Flamingo, Calypso Coral, and Daffodil Delight, and I was allowed to throw in a neutral. So I put in the Smoky Slate, and I stamped these, and then I used ink to marker technique for this, and just stamped that with Smoky Slate, and the rest of it's ink blending with the blending brushes. So, thank you guys so much for all your kind words. I love that you are inspired by them. And I will see you again next Tuesday night at 7. Oh, well, I don't know that I'll be live next Tuesday at 7 because I'm going to be on a stamping retreat with my downline, and we'll see if we get around to a live or not. If not, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks so much for joining me, and until next time, stay healthy, be happy, and happy stamping. Good night.